Hi, Cancer.
Welcome to the full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio.
We're going to do
The reading like we used to. Take a deep breath. Okay. Ace of Wands and the Queen of Wands. There is a door, and if you have enough self-esteem to walk through the door, there is no cause for regret. But if you don't have enough self-esteem to walk through the door, and you're lying to yourself about this fantastic opportunity that you should avail, you know this, but if you think that you're not up to it, if you believe that, you can make it so. So this becomes one more video about your power to manifest, but from a completely different point of view. Your power to manifest from that which sabotages your life again and again. Those beliefs that are so hidden and so counter to what you want actually in life that you've sublimated them even more, so you never have to face that your programming that leads to your decisions and leads to your likes and dislikes is what brings you back around to these beliefs that you don't want to look at. Too painful, not interested. But somewhere inside, you know that it's there because it reads like a story in your life over and over again. So you know it's there. This eclipse is like, look at it. Stop looking here, stop looking there. There's an opportunity coming and you've got to get rid of these termites in the foundation before you can avail it. Do you have the fortitude emotionally to look at this? Now, what could this be? For some of us, because Cancer rising, Cancer moon, for some of us, these things gnawing away at the foundation, they're being exacerbated because Mars is in Cancer, where your sun sits, or in your first house, or where your moon sits. And on the 7th, in a few days, in 2 days, Venus will meet Mars there, in your sign. So all these things that simmer under the surface, these things that keep your waves moving, all the little creatures that live underneath in the tide, they're all brought up to the surface. Look at this. Look at how you feel. Look at how you act. Look how it all comes together. Look how you actually feel about relationships. Look how you actually think about yourself in relationships. Can you handle this Ace of Wands? Can you? Is there too much? Have you picked up too much trauma from the past? Has it gotten into the foundation? Is the asylum overrun? How many metaphors do you want? Is it too much? Have you been through too much to try again? I don't know. Let's see. No, apparently not. No, not you, Cancer. Mm-mm. You're a winner. You know why? Because you don't give up. Can't beat somebody who won't give up. That's a Cancer. So, then I have a question for you. If you are so sure that you'll win, that you'll get what you want, that you'll get who you want, that you'll be able to take advantage of this opportunity regardless, that you're going to turn these termites into building posts, that you're going to make everything right now that is working against you work in your favor. If you know that you can do that if you wanted to, why not just do it? Relationships can end abruptly at the beginning of this month, but only the ones that you know for sure are not stable. Other relationships deepen immensely because they lead to something healthy. You can't take this process personally because it's not just about you. There's somebody else involved. What's the best way to get through something that tumultuous, such a tumultuous energy that's cutting cords and creating new binds? Be exceedingly patient. Be careful. Understand what you're getting into. Don't let somebody sweet talk you. Don't let somebody, like tell you a story. Don't let somebody use their suffering to seduce you. You understand what I'm saying? That some people have the ability to recognize early with cancers that we have a very soft spot for suffering because we suffer ourselves greatly, right? So if you figure that out about us, it's very easy to manipulate us. But there is something so cool about cancers when we are manipulated, when we are used, when we are abused. We have the ability to take our scissor hands out and become quite vicious. We have the ability to use your cruelty and malice against us, against you. How? By seeing the truth of you in your actions. Let me explain. If I trust you and you betray my trust, and then you use some suffering, some awful thing to make sense of that betrayal, right? In that moment, you may succeed. In that moment, you may feel quite happy with yourself for having done that. But the thing about cancers is that we're always on this almost annoyingly motherly search for truth. You know how your mom just has to know? She's gonna go through your room. She's going to go through your stuff. Like, she just has to know. She doesn't give a fuck, right? We have that, but it's like emotional. We want to go through all your emotional fucking shit. We want to go through all your bags. We want to go through your fucking room. We want to look at fucking everything, right? We're snoopy that way. So because we're snoopy that way, even when you betray us, even when you hurt us, even when you take advantage of us, even when you lie to us, we have the ability to use that bit that you gave us to pull now at that string and start to unravel something in you. It's complicated Cancerian stuff. If you're a cross watcher and you're like, what the fuck is she talking about? It's not for you, okay? We start to pull at that string and something starts to fray on the other end. right? We know it because we're doing it. And we follow this string and we fray whatever is on the other end, and it keeps coming undone. And as we get more and more information, emotions, feelings, yarn, right? We start to understand something. And I have the perfect song for you. 1 second. Wait. Sorry. Got it. Excuse me, that took a minute. Okay, like I was saying, we'll follow that thread back. You know we will. Anything you give us, pain, hurt, neglect, abandonment, we'll pull on it. And we'll see where it takes us. And we know that something is fraying on the other end. We don't care anymore. You hurt us. Scissor hands. We'll take these and we'll put them in our claws. And we'll start to think, why would you do this to me? What happened to you? And we'll figure it out, because as we start to pull and we get more and more information, we start to understand you. We start to see the shape of your wounds. And we get quiet. We go inward. We let you walk away. We have the string. If you walk, you'll just continue to fray. Hurting us, putting a hook in us, cutting us, all it does is tether you to us. You know why? Because pain is a very compelling motivator. And although people are terrible and fantastic at inflicting pain, nobody understands this. Nobody understands pain the way we do. Nobody relishes it. Nobody likes it. Nobody bathes in heartbreak like we do. It's syrup for us. It's honey. And so, when you hurt us and we turn your swords into honey, it does something to you. It makes you feel bad. Makes you want to be better. Makes you want to show up as your best self. And we don't have to do a thing. We didn't do anything to begin with. We were just trying to love you. And in the time that people take, when something rocks their world, something as severe and extreme and noisy and rambunctious as love, sometimes it takes them a minute to understand what's happened. And in that moment, we can be deeply wounded because we are so very gentle and so very delicate. But if you can help it, don't say anything. Don't kick people when they're down. Believe in them instead. Give them back honey for their swords and see what happens. I've often thought about that quote. If you treat a man as he should be, he will become that way. And as I go through my life, and the more I think about it, it's very true. Not just in terms of, the human condition and how people interact. In terms of like quantum physics as well. You make a supposition about a person, right? When you treat them a certain way. The way you treat someone is based on suppositions that you've made about that person. Unfortunately or fortunately, it makes you change everything depending on who you're talking to. Some people are very solid and very straight and they never change in any way, no matter who they're talking to. The Marty Birds. And that's, I guess it's got its own Capricorn appeal, but that's not what we're doing here, obviously. We're all the way on the other end of the zodiacal wheel. So, when we choose to accuse someone of something, when we choose to not trust someone, when we choose to not forgive someone, when we choose to be hard on someone, when we choose to kick someone when they're down, it's based on assumptions that we're making about their life, right? It's based on assumptions that we're making about their character. Or else why would we treat them that way? See, if I assumed, let's go back to the quote, if you treat a man the way he should be, he will become that way. If I treat you like a man who should be trusted, there's a lot of things I'm never going to ask you. There's a lot of things I'm never going to expect you to prove to me. There's a lot of things that could happen right under my nose and I wouldn't notice. Because I'm treating you like a trustworthy person. Now, the cool thing about this is that when you have that letting go of control, when you have that release, when you decide that you're going to treat people as you think of them, not what your fears are telling you, not what you're programming, not what your childhood, not what you know what I mean? You let that go. You let your assumption of them dictate your behavior. and you allow them to be free to either fulfill that assumption or not. The coolest thing about being this way is that you give people a lot of agency, but it also takes away that like gnawing question of doubt. Is it real? Is it true? Is it for me? Is it, because you let go of trying to make something happen. You go on the assumption of this person is a good person. This person is a trustworthy person. Whatever it is, whatever you've decided, this is a good job, whatever it is. I'm going to do amazing at this job. I'm going to do amazing with this business. Whatever it is. Once you start to behave with that person at that job, with your business, with yourself, once you start to behave and your words start to reflect the assumption that you've made, you've allowed a release. You've said, this is what I think it is, and I am going to move this way. I don't know what happens next. I'm you know what I mean? Like, I can't control it because I'm making a huge ass assumption. It's not even like I even know that it's not real. I'm just assuming, so I can't even control what happens. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just gonna go off of this. Like, a lot of people call this like let go and let God, or like you gotta give it to God. Whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. I'm not downplaying that. I'm just saying this is another way to look at it. When you make an assumption and you go with it, that natural opposition we have to letting go of our wishes, our wants, that final step of manifestation that we all have such a problem with, we have that internal, like, inherent, like, inability to open our claws and just like let go of the thing we want, not understanding that it can only come back if we let it go. It takes that stickiness away because that part of it is so hard for us. So this is like a hack around that. And it has to do with belief and faith. And that's where we come to. Either it's real or it's not. Don't spend all month trying to make something real that's not real. Don't spend a beautiful time of year, regardless of which hemisphere you're in, trying to make somebody else do what you think they should do. Just treat them as if they're doing what you think goes along with the character you've assumed they have, and let them rock. And if they prove you different, if you assume, for example, there's a good person and they prove out not to be a good person, then you say, my assumption was proven wrong. Let me take a few steps back. And that's it. And you move along. But the weight and the worry and the inability to let go of what you want so it can boomerang and come back around, all of that you take care of by just assuming. You can assume the best about people if you want. You can assume the worst. Just do something. Pick one instead of holding on tightly with both claws to either or. Pick one. Go with it. Let your claws open up. And see what comes to you. Don't be bossy. Don't be pushy. Don't try to make anything happen. If somebody says to you, give me whatever they say, give it to them. You're going to give it to them anyway. So, like, you know what I mean? Be realistic about who you are and what you are. And understand that there is a part of your personality that's being tested under this eclipse energy that really, I've been telling you this for a couple of months, that really wants to see if you're over all this like possessive, aggressive, like unhealthy, jealous, like, are you over it? Are you done with all that? Can you be in a real, mature, loving relationship that's like healing and equal and considerate? Can you do that? Or is it going to turn into like, I'm baby, take care of me? These are big questions that May is asking you. And it makes sense because the payoff is huge. There's that wand again. But the only way to make it there is to not be crazy in the process. The only way to make it there is to give people their space, no matter how much it triggers your wounds. Your wounds being triggered by other people's needs is not their problem. And it's not even your problem. It's not a problem. It's just an indicator. It's an indicator of something that dysregulates you. Anything that dysregulates you goes on that list of things called shadow work, which means you need to sit down with yourself. You need to look at your nervous system. You need to think about what's going through your mind when your nervous system starts to act like this. You need to understand that when you start to daydream and you start to zone out, what were you thinking about? What's going on? What was stressing you in that moment? Start to pick apart what's making this stuff happen instead of pouring it all into an attraction you have with somebody, a chemistry you may have with somebody, something that's burgeoning, something that could be beautiful, something that one day could be a connection that helps you explore whatever the fuck is going on. But that's not now. And this is not the time, and this is not the place, and this is not the tariqa, this is not the way. Okay? You need to do that stuff. So forgiveness, acceptance, letting people be, letting yourself assume the best about people, and then not being devastated if you're proven wrong. Because assuming the best about people, it's like having joy in your heart. It's like singing. It's its own reward. 90% of the time you're going to be right. And the cool thing about believing in love, believing in your connection and letting it be, letting it go, giving it time, giving it space, the most beautiful thing about love is that it holds you. And I find it ironic that sometimes we're the ones who are the most skittish about love when we're the ones who understand it best. Isn't that odd? Think about it. Nobody understands how deep love can go, how real it is, how deep it hooks itself into you. Nobody gets it the way we get it. Nobody feels it the way we feel it. Nobody. They can say they do. But we can see it in people's eyes that they don't. Because our eyes go on forever, right? We'll take you real deep, hold you under, watch you drown. Watch the light leave your eyes for the fun of it, just to see if you love us. You still love me, baby? So why, when we are so deeply knowing about love, are we so very afraid of it? Afraid of being in it, afraid of losing it, afraid of having it, afraid of falling into it? Why do we do the Cancer dance all over the fucking place when we're the ones who understand these hooks the deepest, and you're sitting on the other end saying, because we understand the hooks, yes, I get what you're saying, but if you understood the hooks deepest, then you also understand that the way those hooks get deep into you, they get deep into everybody. That's just, don't be arrogant. Don't be egotistical in your love. They don't just go that deep into you. That's just what love does. It does it to everybody. Just because you could feel every little sinew that is sliced through to get in there, and some people can't, doesn't mean that it's not in there good and tight like it is in you. All you have is a deeper sensitivity to the hook, G. That's it. Everybody got the same hooks. They're hooked in exactly the same way. You think because you're more sensitive to it that you feel more than they do. No. This is, for example, like if you're dealing with an earth sign. This is, for example, like your whole problem with them is like you feel like because they don't show you how bad the hook in them hurts, that it's not there, right? But Cancer, if you want to know, for example, this Capricorn, Cap rising, Cap moon, if you want to know if that hook you put in them hurts, just ask. They'll tell you. They don't know how to show you. They're not you. They're all the way on the other end of the wheel. They don't know how to show you. But if you ask, they'll tell you straight up, yeah. Yeah, I'm going crazy. I can't think. Right? So arrogance is what we come back to.
I love you. We're doing this in the extended, continuing this in the extended right now.